They say that minimalism brings peace and happiness, which, as you can tell, is something that I'm very keen on, minimalism. And with minimalism in mind, today I'm sharing with you guys 25 fragrances that are all you will ever need. The creme de la creme, the S+ tier, the tops. Be minimalistic like me, let the peace enter your heart. All of these are gonna be linked in the description. Feel free to check them out down there. We got a lot to talk about, so let's jump straight into it with none other than this, Mr. Burberry Element. Sit up, sit up. I told you, peace. So a lot of you out there might think this is a weird first choice. Like, why Mr. Burberry Element? Isn't that the fragrance that pretty much killed off the entire Burberry line? Yes, it is. Actually, yeah. Basically, this one was the final hurrah, and they really didn't even care about it for the most part. They just kind of threw it out there. There was basically next to no advertising at all, and then they pretty quickly went, oh, Mr. what? Hero. That's actually our, yeah, Hero, that's our thing. But this one is actually low-key really good, especially if you're after a fresh, sweet fragrance that is a monster compliment puller. It smells a little bit similar to YSL's Y Live, which is absolutely killer for pretty much any situation and getting positive attention, but that one is discontinued. No, so is this one, but this one you can still find for a pretty good price, which is why I like to bust it out from time to time. It's that type of fragrance that works in pretty much any situation, but nobody else out there is wearing. So it gives you something a little bit unique. So Burberry Element starting us off. From there, let's go to this one, Paradise Garden by Jean Paul Gaultier. Now you could also go with Le Beau Le Parfum. That one would work really well, but Paradise Garden is the one I'm choosing for today's video. Obviously you can tell by the coloration here, it's got a little green vibe to it, really fresh, easy to wear during spring and summer, but also quite sweet and has an interesting fig note that people love. In general, Le Beau is a line tailor-made for pulling attention and compliments and great versatility for spring, summer, and sometimes fall as well, and this one is no exception. The next one is very cheap. It is Jasur by Lattafa. This one is a clone of Valentino Uomo, born in Roma Coral Fantasy, which I can't wait for the future when the names in that line are so long, they don't even bother to try to put it on the box. Valentino Uomo, born in Roma, Sicily edition, Hubble Telescope, Centaurus 007, Neptune, Uranus, Absolute Parfum, straight to parfum to parfum. Oh yeah, that sounds pretty good. What are the notes in that? $4,200, huh? I'll take it. The future is bright. Jasur though, really cheap, not 4,200 bucks. This one is more like 25, something like that most places. Has a great apple opening little tobacco in there as it dries down. Really good for pretty much whenever you want. Versatile to the nines. Any season, daytime or nighttime, this stuff crushes. The next one is another clone. It is Tobacco Myth by Fragrance World. And when I say a clone, I mean it. This is kind of absurd, actually. It's kind of ridiculous. I mean, not for nothing, but yeah. So Tobacco Myth is a clone of Mystery Tobacco by Carolina Herrera, and if you've never smelled that fragrance, obviously it is a tobacco scent, tobacco forward, but it kind of splits the difference between Red Tobacco by Mancera and Carlisle by Parfums de Marly. So it's sort of in between those two. Smells absolutely fantastic. This stuff is insane for the price point. Fall and winter time, this is a staple. Some absolutely amazing fragrances to come, but before that, some amazing codes, including a new one for Lucky Scent, which will get you 10% off the entire website, GS10. So if you're looking for niche or indie, that is your stop and that is your code. Then there's also a new code at Fragflex, which will get you $15 off any order over 150 bucks. And then codes as well for Joma Shop, Gift Express, the perfume box, and more. So anytime you shop at those stores, use those codes, save yourself some cash. The next one is Eros Energy by Versace. Now I have to tell you, this is not gonna be for absolutely everybody because it is citrus forward to the point of absurdity. I mean, take a look at the note breakdown. Almost every citrus in existence, they were like, can we fit it in there? Then do it. I'll deal with the issues later, just do it. So yeah, ton of citrus off the top, rindy, but at the same time, fresh, brisk, uplifting. To me, fantastic because I love that little bit of tartness and that little bit of bitterness that you get from a rindy sort of citrus mixing together with that fresher aspect. Just makes it smell more lively, more realistic. Some people don't like that. They prefer like the more sweetened up sort of citrus, which fair enough, but I do like having that contrast from time to time. You know, I'll take the citrus this way, this way, whichever way. It does have some similarities to Aventus cologne as well, so if you're familiar with that fragrance, when you smell this one in the opening, you might get some of those vibes also. For summertime, an absolutely killer choice that is different than pretty much every other designer fragrance out there as far as how it approaches a summertime fragrance. Gotta go with this one, 1 Million Lucky by Paco Rabanne up next. Another one that I think is really unique as far as designer fragrances go nowadays. Has plum off the top, but also this really nice airiness. So it's fresh, but at the same time has a nice deep sweetness. Technically, I think plum is a mid note, but you pick it up when you first spray it on. And it does warm up a little bit more as it dries down, has a nice nutty aspect as well. Just a really well done designer fragrance that's quite unique, again, which I think is really, really nice that you can have 25 different fragrances and have 25 completely different approaches potentially. Of course, at the same time, you could do 25 different fragrances that all smell kind of similar. So there is that too. 1 Million Lucky, just one of those fragrances that has great versatility, but is quite unique at the same time. You can use it pretty much year round. The stuff is just absolutely fantastic. Vulcan Feu is up next by French Avenue. This is a clone of God of Fire, which has been cloned a bunch. Yeah, a whole bunch lately. Like a whole bunch. This is one of the better ones though. For the price point, really well done. Great atomizer on this one. Has a good mix of woodiness as it dries down and that mango off the top that God of Fire is so well known for. So for me, it's just kind of that like best of all worlds. It's not too expensive because there are some out there that are like 2 or even 3 times more than this one, but you still get really high quality, high performance, everything else that you would want from a clone. The next one is Yellow Dream, which is one of the worst fragrance names I think of all time. But the fragrance itself works really well for somebody who's looking for something that you can wear anytime you want. Daytime, nighttime, spring, summer, fall, winter, doesn't really matter because it does that mix of fresh and sweet really well, which I talked about earlier. That is one of the go-to scent types if you're looking for something that has versatility and complement factor. That's just kind of how it's baked in. And this one has some interesting notes. It's got gingerbread in there, which you don't see very often. It also has pineapple as well. So those 2 notes together, it sounds odd, but it works. It also has a little bit of a similarity to something like Stronger With You by Emporio Armani, but this is a little bit fresher and easier to wear in more situations than Stronger With You, which is more of like a fall winter time fragrance. Gonna go next with Ferragamo's Uomo Signature. You cannot go wrong with Uomo's Signature. Really inexpensive at discounters, so it's not gonna cost you too much. Projects like a beast, lasts forever, and has a really good roast coffee note in there, which I love. You also have some leather, some spices. You have a really nice sweetness in there as it dries down as well. Not like bubblegum sweet, just like a nice warm sweetness. You could also go with the original Ferragamo Uomo. That one is really good as well. It's kind of in this wheelhouse. They're not too dissimilar from each other. But you can't go wrong with either one. And you gotta have an Acqua di Gio. You just have to. And I'm gonna go with Acqua di Gio Profondo Eau de Parfum. This one is an amazing take on the Acqua di Gio DNA, a more modern take with a nice minerality in there, some green touches, great citrus off the top. Of course, has that aquatic feel, otherwise it wouldn't be Acqua di Gio, would it? It wouldn't be This one is an amazing take on the original Acqua di Gio DNA, made more modern. A little bit green with some nice minerality, citrus in there off the top, captures attention right away, and it does not have that floral undertone to it that the original did when it first came out, which again, the original fantastic, but this one better for more guys nowadays. Spring, summer, this stuff is a staple. You can wear it whenever you want, daytime or evening. And really you can wear this during fall and winter also. When it's cold outside, it takes on this really nice, almost iciness when you first spray it on. And one more Armani for good measure, Code Eau de Parfum. So Code Eau de Parfum as it is today in the new bottle style smells a little bit similar to Code Profumo, which is this guy right here. Unfortunately, discontinued, so this is really, really expensive nowadays. But if you want something similar to that, this will do it. This is more fall and winter time specific, really nice warm spiciness and sweetness in there, almost effervescent when you first spray it on. And it is completely different from code Eau de Parfum in the original bottle style, so do be aware of that. Let's go super cheap with the next one, Rubraka Theorem, which smells similar to Tiger by Bulgari. There are a bunch of different Bulgari Tiger alternatives out there, a whole bunch. This one of the more affordable ones, but also one of the better ones. It is another citrus forward fragrance, maybe not quite as rindy as Eros Energy, so it is a little more easygoing for most people. And it's one of those ones where if you've never smelled it, the first time you get your nose on this, you'll be blown away at how high quality it smells versus the price that you paid, which is why it is so popular. Now the next one you gotta have. It's just the rules. I don't make the rules, I just enforce them. It's Dior Homme Intense. This stuff is insane. Now I do realize it's not gonna be for everybody, okay? Because the iris that's in here, and there is a lot of iris, is more of that creamy, rich, dense iris that a lot of people would say is lipsticky or makeup-y or whatever. It is that style. And it's absolutely more a fall wintertime fragrance, more of an evening fragrance, a dressy type of fragrance, you know, more formal. This is the type of thing I'd spray on if I'm going to the symphony to have a nice cultural evening. Wow, the acoustics in here are fantastic tonight. How about we try to get a reservation to Dorsia? The next fragrance is very odd in terms of the bottle and the name, but the fragrance works and smells great. It is this one, La Di Da by Rabiat Prestige. It doesn't take too much imagination to take a look at this and have some thoughts about how the thing looks. And I almost imagine that they were all sitting around in a meeting, taking a look at this and going, this is what we signed off on, huh? Yeah. What do we name it? I mean, we got to come up with something good here, something that works with the bottle. And just one dude in the back was like, la-di-da, la-di-da. And they went, you're a genius. Yes, that's it. That's it. La-di-da. So very odd looking, very interesting. It is a clone of Myself by YSL mixed with Stronger With You Intensely by Emporio Armani, which doesn't sound like something that would necessarily go together, but it does. It leans more toward the Myself side of things, so it has more of that fresh kind of vibe, but it has a denser base to it. You know, has more of that warmth coming through from Stronger With You than the original Myself. So you get that kind of hybridization in effect. And it gives you something that you can use pretty much year round, daytime or nighttime. And just like the two fragrances that it is similar to, big compliment puller. Just don't have it sitting on your shelf by itself in the background or something when somebody comes over, because they'll be like, oh, you meant to just put that up, put it away. Nah, man, it's what it looks like. It's a fragrance. Just like that other thing was a flashlight. Sure, bud. Then we gotta have this, Wanted by Night by Azzaro. This stuff is fantastic. Now, the Most Wanted is more popular nowadays, and for good reason. That stuff is great as well. It would be very welcome in any collection. But I love Wanted by Night. I think it's a little more unique nowadays. It's got a lot of spices in there, tobacco, good sweetness in there as well. And it has flown under the radar for years and years and years and years. It's never going to be as popular as the Most Wanted, but I think it does give you something that stands out, that walks the line between versatile, wearable, and also slightly boundary pushing, just as far as designer fragrances are concerned. Good stuff. Gonna go with something very easy to wear, Polo 67 Eau de Toilette. This is by Ralph Lauren. Pretty cheap. Even at full retail, compared to a lot of things nowadays, this does not cost that much. Wearability is through the roof. It has a nice fruity opening, a little bit of woodiness as it dries down, and it's been compared to Myself by YSL, which it's not that close to that one, but it does walk in the same ballpark as far as just a versatile, everyday type of scent profile that will garner positive attention. Gotta have Luna Rossa Black, must own in my opinion. Absolutely fantastic. Bunch of Tonka in there, good amount. Also has similarities to Bulgari Black and Midnight in Paris, both of which are now discontinued, so you can get those out of here. And that ends up making it smell really, really, really unique once again, which is a great thing about the lineup here. Most of these fragrances, even if they're kind of usable at the same times, smell different from each other. So you can have 25 different things, 25 different smells. Of course, if you wanted to, you could also go 25 different things that kind of all smell the exact same. You could do that pretty easily nowadays. What's the fun in that? Luna Rossa Black, more fall, winter, evening. But that one I love so much. I have 2 bottles of it and I'll wear it just whenever I get a chance. I don't suggest that you buy 2 bottles of everything. That would be ridiculous, but what do I know? Nitro Elixir is up next. This is by Dumont Paris. And this one is a clone of YSL Absolute, YSL Myself Absolute. Also has a magnetic cap, well done Dumont. Out of all of these so far, this one is the only one with the magnetic cap. It's actually the only one out of any of these. What? Now this one, not an exact replica of Myself Absolute, but it does share a whole lot in common with that one, including the coloration of the bottle. The orange blossom especially, you're gonna get a bunch in here just like in the Myself, but then in this one, you also have cardamom, you have praline, you have citrus, you have tonka. It projects like a beast, lasts forever. And it's another one of those ones that you can use pretty much year round, so great versatility. Another clone, this one is Anicus Luna. This one is by Zamaya. Presentation, very unassuming, even cheap-ish looking. And this one is a clone of Reserve Privé by Givenchy. So it's gonna give you that classiness, that warmth, that coziness, that sexiness that Reserve Privé has. Little extra citrus in here off the top, but just a little bit. Ultimately, it's all about the iris and the chestnut along with leather as it dries down. So another one really well done for fall and winter time at a great price. One other quick clone is this Roms Silver by Lattafa. This easily the worst looking bottle here. I think this is actually one of the worst clone bottles that I have. It's just really, truly atrocious. I would almost rather just have this sitting on my dresser by itself than this, because with this one, you know, it's a little talking piece, right? You can go, no, 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 this is la-di-da for him. Look, for real, for real. Because in actuality, they might read that and be like, la-di-da for him. That's what they're calling this is what this is, la-di-da. Okay, I get it, Must be the brand name. Odd. But you can turn it into a talking point. Oh, ha, 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 confusion, ha, ha, ha. With this, they see it and they just go, oh, you couldn't afford the axe, I guess. The bod spray was too much. But the fragrance works. It works really well. It smells like Ultramall by Jean Paul Gaultier. So vanilla sweetness with this great pear opening. You can get it for under $20 pretty much everywhere. And at that price point, this stuff is an absolute steal. The next one is Jean Paul Gaultier's Scandal. This is Scandal Le Parfum, and Scandal Absolute to me is probably the go-to. But this one is right there just behind it, and I'd say that this is the classier of the two, if that's important to you. It has a little more of an aromatic feel to it, a nice woodiness underneath, and then still has that caramel sweetness that the Scandal line is really well known for. Top-notch stuff, amazing performance once again. Then we got our Mauve coming at us strong with Odyssey Mandarin Sky Elixir. Why am I spanking the bottle? I don't know. Somebody help me. Slide it out of his clothes. You could use that for like White Claws. You could put them in there, have yourself a little Odyssey Mandarin Sky White Claw, tiny little can holder. That's actually a really stupid idea. Mandarin Sky Elixir is sort of a blend. So we just did Scandal right here. And this one, Scandal again. But it's gonna give you Scandal with a twist, because it has sort of a hybridization going on, much like La-di-da over here, only in a far less suggestive bottle. This one smells like Scandal has been hanging out with Invictus Victory Elixir a little bit too much. More of that vanilla coming through, this sort of sparkling vanilla that smells fantastic. And so while most of these are quite different, these two are not, but they do give you two very different approaches to that same style. This one's sweeter, more playful with a nice richness underneath. This one classier with that caramel still there, but more of an aromatic flair. And then also that little touch of woodiness underneath. Underneath. Sometimes my mouth doesn't work. I gotta get some more iris in here. I just gotta do it. I've got some already, of course, with Dior Homme Intense and with Anicus Luna over here, but I need a little more. And so this will do that for me. Gentleman Eau de Toilette Intense. Fantastic. This one has a great blue iris, so it's a little bit fresher, a little bit easier to wear, but it still has that sort of creaminess that you expect in fragrances in the Gentleman line. It also has a little bit of a throwback feel to like Dior Homme Eau, which is unfortunately discontinued. The next one is Ombre Noir from Lalique. Now this one is not gonna be as much for younger guys. This is gonna be like middle-aged and up, but it is absolutely banging for the price. It is nuts. Note-wise, this one has tobacco, it has cognac, it has fig leaf, mint, cinnamon, myrrh, olibanum, tonka, and more. Extremely rich, decadent, resinous, just amazing stuff. And the final fragrance is Sweet Heaven Extreme. So this is a newer one in the Sweet Heaven lineup, and it has sort of a, Camera-esque feel to it, but with a bit of a twist. It does have coffee in there as well, which you may think, okay, well, Camera Kawa, and it's got some similarities to that too. But it also has this kind of cherry undertone to it, cherry liquor. So it's a really interesting Camera, Angel Share, Gisa Sava type twist fragrance. Really, really sexy stuff. I'd say unisex ladies could wear this as well as men if they wanted to. Good performance, and people absolutely are drawn to this. It's magnetic. In the air, smells amazing. So there we have it, minimalism. With these 25 fragrances, you can do literally anything. I want to thank you guys for hanging with me here until the end. Stay safe out there, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.